This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome to the Oddsbreakers, number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
Welcome back to podcast 97 of 2025. I'm your host, Kiev O'Neill. Follow me on Twitter at OBKiev. Follow us at The Oddsbreakers and follow us on social media / The Oddsbreakers. This episode is being brought to you by FanDuel Sports, a proud partner of the NFL. If you'd like to support The Oddsbreakers and benefit from our premium plays, please visit theoddsbreakers.com, click shop, and become a member. Pick any of our winning cappers to get the premium plays before the line moves. You can also support us on patreon.com, and if nothing else, please visit The Oddsbreakers and become a free Picks and Telegram subscriber. We have a wonderful show for you today. NFL Week 12, and we're bringing back Katie, the sports betting queen from Crooks and Books. Katie is a phenomenal NFL narrative capper, actually, which has been doing awesome over the last few years. I really appreciate that kind of insight because I really believe the NFL has kind of switched to more of a narrative-based sport in a way. I think the NBA is a little bit like that, and I'm excited to see what she has for NFL Week 13. You know, Katie's also spent a ton of time at the Circa this year helping film the next year's quest for $18.7 million, so going to be a great show as soon as Katie comes on. Before we have our wonderful guest, we're going to talk a little bit about NFL ATS. Now, the NFL obviously likes to correct itself every single week, so the ATS has been pretty thin. If you're just riding a team, the best one was the Seattle Seahawks, who did cover last week, maybe almost won the game. 8-2 against the spread is the Seattle Seahawks, but then you got the Rams at 7-3, the Patriots 7-3-1, and the Eagles 7-3. Then your next best one is the Colts at 6-3-1. You know, so it really thins out after that. Worst covering teams, the Commanders. High expectations from making the NFC Championship game last year to being 3-8 against the spread. The Saints 3-7, the Packers 3-7, and the Bengals 3-7 against the spread. These are your worst covering teams. And my oh my, did the Bengals ruin my week last week in not only the contest, but my own personal bets. So screw you, Bengals. Sounds like Joe Burrow is coming back very soon. We don't know if it's going to be this week. I kind of doubt it, but who knows what Zach Taylor has in mind. He's going to make the wrong decision no matter what happens. I'm confident of that. And this Bengals team, unless that defense improves, I really don't think has much of a great chance of making the playoffs. But totals: Cincinnati, Dallas, Minnesota, San Fran, and Baltimore all 7-3. San Fran is 7-3-1 to the over. So there's your overs teams and your unders teams this year. Denver 3-8. Then you have two teams that are 3-7, the Chiefs and the Saints. No surprise with the Chiefs lately. And then 3-6-1 is Houston. So that's really your unders teams that have been cashing on the under for 2025. All right, well, we have a lot to talk about, so let's bring on our wonderful guest, the sports betting queen, Katie from Crooks and Books. Now I'm very excited to welcome back Katie, the sports betting queen from the show Crooks and Books. You can follow Katie on X at KDeuces. Katie, thanks for coming back on the show. Here we are, NFL Week 12. We're getting close to Thanksgiving. Craziness left and right. How are things going with you?
Good so far. Actually, we had quite a year so far, or the season. So thanks for having me. It was really nice having you on the show too. And we appreciate that as always. But yeah, no, I'm excited to talk today football. So love it.
Absolutely. And it's a crazy time because the Chiefs, man, 5-5, it's just like, did people foresee that? I kind of did, because I did bet Denver and the Chargers to win the West. But at the same time, can they catch them? It's funny. I got to ask you about the AFC West, and we'll just get right into it. I'm wondering, and this is the most common thing everybody's asking. Don't get me wrong. I'm kind of jumping on the bandwagon here, but are the Chiefs going to miss the playoffs here?
Yeah, I think that it's time for them to miss it. There's a lot of different talks about their team and where it's going, and it's kind of like out with the old, in with the new, right? And the new is like the new narratives of what's going on in football. And I think like a lot of the teams that used to suck don't suck anymore. Obviously,
That's right.
Those picks are coming in. They're actually, holding up to what they're supposed to, right? What pick they had, and kind of like with the Colts and how they're doing, and other teams that you would never think would be there. And honestly, the Chiefs are still a good team, but they're not a great team. So I think that's really gonna,
you're gonna see him gel and blow someone out, and maybe if it's even this week. But at the same time, numbers wise, I just can't get to their overinflated spread. So we'll get to that game. But I think that the Chargers are in a little bit of injury woes. I think Joe Alt comes back at some point. I don't know when that is. They've been just getting battered in the offensive line and in the running backs, but they still have a great coach, and their coach gets them through. You see with Shanahan being 7-4, if you have a great coach, that's the kind of like the ultimate fixture. It's
you can work around it, is what you're saying. Like, hey, you have the athletes, but you also have the thinking and IQ of a good coach.
Exactly.
So you're right. And with the Chiefs being where they're at, I just feel like they don't have that specific drive to, like the Chargers have a drive where they want to win, they want to get there. And then the Chiefs are kind of like, oh, we've done this. And you see that a lot with the strong teams throughout, the NFL, even this season with the champs, they kind of like stoop down to the level of the teams that they're playing. But at the same time, you don't really see the drive that they used to, that, hey, I want to win and this is where I'm at. And everything is win, win, win. Now it's like, oh, we already won. We can kind of take it easy. Not that I'm saying that they're not that good of an athlete or 5-star athletes, but it's more like there's no driven perspective.
Yes, they got comfortable. And you know what? You can be as competitive as Mahomes says and Brady. There's just times you get comfortable. Nobody's done it better than Brady, though. I will say that. But I just haven't seen vintage Mahomes in a while. And I just think, you got a family, you got kids to worry about, you got different priorities with now insurance payments and all that. Things change.
Commercials and other things that pay you money that you're like, okay, I'll just do that because that's easier than putting my body on the line,
Yeah, you're not going to the gym at 5 p.m. just because you really want to win so bad. It's a different mindset, and you can't get away from it. It's too hard. And that's why second contracts always are a little rough on some teams. But let's talk about what we care about. Our team's making the playoffs, Katie.
I know.
Here we are. I'm gonna give the wild card to either the Rams or Seattle. Okay, I have to. I'm gonna give one of them to them. But I think as far as everything else, we got the Packers, the Niners, the Bears, and am I missing someone? Packers, Niners, Bears. Rams,
Packers. What about Tampa?
Tampa's going to either win the division or not get anything. I don't see the wild card coming out of the NFC South. I think it's going to be there's 3 wild cards, right? And then there's going to be I'm going to give it Seattle, but then the other 2 are going to be divvied up between, I think, the Packers, the Niners, and the Bears. Who's going to be left out on that one? And just because I'm a Bears fan, you don't have to worry about insulting me if you think it's the Bears.
You know what's crazy? I think, it's hard to say because Packers are really good, but then will they choke? They're more of the team that I feel like would choke a little on that. Not saying that your team wouldn't do that. And my team, same thing. but like more of a choking standard for LaFleur. Maybe he learned, but we don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think your team has your defense is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So and Loveland on the offense side, that's fine too. But I just feel like there's different strengths on the teams, and obviously my team. I mean, you never really know. I can't really say too much about them because it's like I said, with my team, it's a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
So I could say something really, really good, and then I'll eat my words this Sunday.
I'll say it good for you. The Niners have a very great path, and the Niners have a fantastic schedule right now. And looking at who they have left on deck, I don't even. It's just Seattle, really. That's the tough one. They already played the Rams, and I don't even think I think they played them twice, didn't they? Yes, they played them twice, and they won one of them, and they lost one of them. And they got that crazy first game win against Seattle. Now you have to compete with the Bears, and that's going to be a fun game on Sunday, December 28th, and that's going to tell us some things. And then
that's going to be a coaching battle.
And then if they win that, does Seattle care enough to take them out? If Seattle already has a wild card, that's a great question. But before that, you're going to win against Carolina, most likely. I don't want to jinx them. At Cleveland, home against Tennessee, and then at Indianapolis is a little bit tougher. But they'll be favored at home against the Bears, and they might even be favored or pick them against Seattle. So your path.
No, the path is there. You just got to achieve it, like you said. You got to get through it, and I don't know. I think it's there, but do we have the players? You see what I'm saying? Do we have if someone blows out, do we have someone next up? That's the problem. That's always been the problem. Exactly.
The Bears' schedule, they have to beat the Packers once. And that's what I think. I think the Packers will jump them if they don't. And it's Pittsburgh. I hope to win. At Philadelphia, probably a loss. At Green Bay, probably a loss. Home against Cleveland, that's their second win. Gets them to 9 wins. But then you got Green Bay, San Fran, and Detroit at the end. It's like, is Detroit fighting for the number 1 seed by then? I mean, I hope not. I hope Detroit wins out, and they're not even. They can just lay down for us Bears. But Dan Campbell didn't do that last year. Remember, he had an opportunity to lay down, and he didn't. And I think someone got hurt. It's just kind of not. It's really not in his mantra. To do that. So the Bears have a very tough schedule coming out, but it's kind of sort of the Packers in a way. It's really going to be a fun finish, and one of us is going to be sad. Let's just hope it's the Packers that's sad. Okay, let's go with them.
I mean, even though Jordan Love has his upward, I guess, momentum or whatever you would say, but they do have an end of the year soft schedule, right?
Well, maybe Dan Campbell likes Ben Johnson so much that he doesn't. No, I don't know what's going to happen there. But there was a time. I think maybe it was the year before where the Lions I didn't have to start anybody, and they did at the very end, and ended up got a couple guys injured, but they ended up winning. I can't remember when it was, but. That's my thoughts. But you know what? It's going to be a great week of football, and we are getting close to Thanksgiving. I like to skip the Thursday game because by the time this podcast comes out, it's great. Yeah. It's Thursday. We have to start talking about NFL because we still don't have all the injuries. I would love to talk about NFL earlier in the week, but sorry, this ain't Thanksgiving week. I have to talk. I have to wait, and so the Thursday game is going to have to go wayside. Let's go to the Giants against the Lions, Katie, and the Lions are minus 10.5. The total is 15.5. I mean, the news about Dart, he's playing probably. The Lions are probably fired up after last week. What do you think about this game?
I think this is it's in the D, right? So it's definitely got to be one of their statement games. It's getting to that point, where the cream of the crop should come out on top in these weeks, just to kind of, prove their team and prove their point. We saw weird things from the Detroit and Philadelphia game, obviously, but Philadelphia has a great defense.
Yeah.
So does the Giants. I mean, I'm not going to say they're, it's like. Comparing the two is obviously very different between the Eagles and the Giants, but I do think that if Detroit wants to make a statement, then they cover a 10 easily.
I agree.
I don't really have anything on the game myself. I didn't think about it, but it's definitely inviting.
Jackson Dart plays to win, which also gets him injured. It's kind of like that quarterback that, he's got that third option of him running, which always makes the teams better. But the way he does it, he gets injured. And so I'm not sure what I'm going to get on him. Is he going to be Mr. Pocket Passer? Because if he is, then I'll bet the Lions all freaking day. But I mean, him getting the extra yards is the reason they were good. And then Dayball kept blowing the games anyway. So that's why he got fired. But I think you're going to get some sort of an effort from the Giants, but if they're not in that game at the end, the Lions could put on the gas and then and then take the dub. But it got past 10 now, so I'm not too interested.
Yeah, it's inviting at 10, but after that, you're like, no.
Seahawks, Titans plus 13 and a half in some books. I'm calling it a 13 because there's even a straggler 12 and a half. Total's 39 and a half. Just like before the show, this is the only play I told you I was just making, and because I just made it. I'm playing the Seattle Seahawks here. This team is 5-0 against the spread away from home. They're 8-2, leading the NFL against the spread for the year. If you're betting the Seahawks, you're doing quite well this year. It's just this is what they do. They go on the road. It's like they forget about home and they just beat the crap out of everybody. But not just that.
Yeah.
To bring more punishment to the Titans, they just lost their receiver. They were waiting to get him back. They got him back last week, and then all of a sudden, Calvin Ridley breaks his fibula. And it's not just that. Jameer DK's been.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Banged up. He it looks like he's going to play. He had a chest contusion before that, but now this team is just back to scraps. And Cam Ward is not the kind of guy that you want playing against a defense like Seattle's. If you remember last week, Seattle got jumped, but they are right back in that game. And if that game had one more quarter in it, Seattle might have won it. It was this Seattle team is a serious team. I have them as one of my top teams. I only give the edge to the Rams because of the quarterback. I think Sam Darnold's just not a championship quarterback. I think he's a great regular season quarterback. I usually don't lay 13, but I'm laying 13 with a little bit, so this is one of my plays.
No, I'm with you on the sprinkle on the 13, and maybe even a teaser because teasers are hitting at over 75% this year in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I think it's even at 77. But, you can play a little bit with this. This is some good stuff to get you ready for the week after, which would be Thanksgiving. So, I agree with you. Tennessee needs a whole reset.
Yeah, find that 12 and a half and get a 10-point teaser, bring it down to 2.5. Katie sends us our teasers in our group, and she's been killing it. And you've been doing really well. So, I've been
seeing a lot. It's the one where you're like, this is never going to do it. And then
right. You've been crushing the teasers. So your teasers might be 70%. Mine aren't. Mine aren't that high this year. I did win last week, but I'm liking the 10-point teasers lately, and maybe and I think the Lions make a little sense for that. But we'll get into the teaser later. Let's go to the next game. We have the Patriots at the Bengals, now down to 6.5 as Joe Burrow is practicing with the ones. What does that mean? Are you going to rush Joe Burrow back in? Zach Taylor's dumb enough to do stuff like that. I think he only cares about himself. When your ass is out, you throw everything at it, right? You don't care about him getting injured again because you're fired. And so that's why he's going to make a stupid decision and put Burrow out. I don't think Burrow should play the rest of the year personally. Maybe a little bit here and there. Why messing up for next year? This is a terrible offensive line. I don't know. What do you think about this thing? Terrible. It's getting to the point where I almost want to bet the Patriots, to be honest.
I like the Patriots, but as for them, I don't know how what it is for them covering, but Cincinnati has a way of doing things, whether or not they have what's his name in there,
Burrow
or who's is it
Flacco?
Yeah. So both Joes, and I think if you might have to take them, but it's just weird. They are one of the, and I know we'll talk about this, the undervalued teams, I feel. And they could make it, but you have to wait. You can't rush this. You can't rush putting in Burrow if he is.
I agree.
You know?
I think they might do that. They're toying with it, but this spread is going to go down to 4.5 if he does go in, and it's going to go back up to 8 if he doesn't. It's just going to be one of those weird things you're going to have to watch, and we're probably not going to get the number before DraftKings does, but that's an interesting thing. Colts, Chiefs. Colts plus 3.5, total 50.5. This is kind of what I was saying. The numbers that I have just don't get to these numbers with the Chiefs. I still feel they're inflated. I don't want to lay points with the. What do you think?
This is going to be a pretty funny narrative with Daniel and then obviously Mahomes. It's going to be who's the better quarterback, but honestly, it's who's got the better line. Who's got the better offensive line, and those guys are all to me. I get that Philadelphia has a great offensive line too, and they're a championship line, and the Colts don't have that just yet. But I think all those guys are all-star players, to be honest. Sure. Like if you can protect him for that long, to be able to choose between 2 or 3 receivers at a time, like that's insane. That's probably something that Mahomes would wish he had. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
A lot of people will probably say that the Chiefs will get this because this is the game that they've been waiting for since last week. And also with the defense and Chris Jones and stuff like that. But depending on who's injured and who's not, I just feel like Indiana, Colts, this could be their letdown spot. But, I can't take the Chiefs, to be honest with you. I can't. I just can't. Even though I want to.
Yeah, it's funny. The Colts are coming off the bye, so you think they'd be a decent spot, but they're also doing so well. Maybe sometimes the bye's not great if you're like have a lot of momentum. So that's always like a spot that could make you let down a little bit. It's the Colts or nothing for me. I'm going to pass, but let's move on to the next game. We have the Jets at the rate. Wow, these bangers here, right? I look and I see the biggest spreads this week, the most double-digit spreads. You got the Lions, you got the Baltimore Ravens against the Jets, and you got Seattle. There's some massive spreads this week. Wow. But dude, I can't do anything with this garbage game. I think the Ravens defense is kind of suspect.
Is he injured or is he in? Is Fields in on this one?
Fields is going to be out, and it looks like Tyrod Taylor is going to play, which they probably want to do anyway. Fields should be on the Ravens. I was on a different show earlier saying that I think that Fields would be a perfect backup for Lamar because he's kind of the same type of player, and maybe John Harbaugh can fix him. But that's not the point. What we're looking at is 13.5. It's a big spread. You need a pretty big teaser to cover it. And 44.5 almost tells me that the Jets might not score many points. Maybe a Jets team total under, 11 or something.
That's actually pretty good. Yeah. I don't do those a lot, but that's a good take.
Yeah, I don't do them a ton either, but I know that it's going to be pretty low either way, 13 or so. I got to look at the team total numbers here. But
maybe Baltimore goes off on their own, since a lot of these teams last week did the same. They went off on their own or almost went over on their own side, like I said, to rise up against these bad teams. So maybe they do the same thing.
Jets are 15.5 team total. I lean under. It's like right in the middle here. I just think that the Jets are going to struggle to score no matter what. It's tough to play in Baltimore. Who's scoring? Tyrod Taylor to who? I don't know. Of course, my internet might be shaken up a little bit, so we'll go to the next game. And what do we have here? Looks like the Minnesota Vikings against the Green Bay Packers. And the Packers are minus 6.5. The total of this game is 41.5. And while we wait for Katie to come back, I'll talk about this one. The Packers are banged up, okay? That's the thing. The Packers are a little bit banged up, and I wonder, if those receivers are going to play. That's kind of the biggest thing to me is the receivers going to play this game. So I don't know, But what I do know is even if they do play, they're banged up and they're dropping a lot of balls from Jordan Love, which is bad for the Packers. And, it's a situation where the Vikings, I think, are getting a little disrespected. I think if the Vikings beat the Bears last week, they'd be a better number. I think that the fact that the Bears got them at the end, put this at 6.5. I really think that this spread should be more about 4 to 5.5, actually, in my opinion. So the truth is that I will go with the Vikings here. And,
sorry.
No, you're good.
Can you hear me?
You're good. It's my internet's bad here too because it's been raining. But I'm just talking about the Vikings here, and I think the Vikings can cover this.
Bad. I think there's a storm. Well, because there's a storm for both of us.
Yeah, perfect situation, right? Storms in freaking LA and in Phoenix. Some bad luck right there for us. But we'll try to get through. But if you come back here, I like the Vikings plus the 6.5. I think this is just one of those weird lines where the receivers are too good for the Vikings with Jefferson, Addison, and Hawkinson there, pass catching the ball. And Aaron Jones is going to want to ball out here, get a little revenge. I like the Vikings. You there?
You like the Vikings? Yeah, because even though they didn't cover was it last week? Yeah. I think the Vikings want to make a statement. Maybe Green Bay gets away from them, but I don't really want to take anything on this game. Maybe the over for me.
Okay, that's fair. And the over 41.5 is a pretty low total. You always look at weather when you get to November here, and it's not looking too bad there. It looks like a chance of rain and no wind and just normal football weather, 42 degrees. They're used to that. This is a pretty dang low total in this situation. Well, here we are. Steelers, Bears, Katie. I'll tell you right now, I didn't make a play yet. If I did, it would only be one side. What do you think about this one with the total of 45.5?
For which game is it? Sorry, you're breaking out a little bit.
Bears hosting the
terrible weather.
The Bears hosting the Steelers. What do you think about the Bears? Do they have a shot in this one?
Oh, the Bear. Yeah, no, I don't have anything on the total, but I love your team.
Okay.
To be honest.
Okay, Bears. I like
I love your team because I think Aaron Rodgers is at his time, and that's beyond the Russell Wilson era as well. But like your team is super high right now. They're on this momentum, and I think Pittsburgh, they're fine. There's a lot of hopes for their team, just like there was a lot of hopes for him on the Jets. But like, I feel like Chicago can really get away from this and win this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Chicago has a shot to really shock the world and get revenge against Aaron Rodgers now with all his smack talk. And I think both teams are a bit overrated. I don't think people should think the Steelers aren't. You're playing J.J. Watt's going to be there, so you kind of wonder if there's narratives involved because I think that T.J. Watt can beat his sack record now, which is possible. So he's going to be there announcing. So I do worry about that a little bit. And I didn't play the game. I don't like laying points with the Bears. I'd rather take points. But, yeah, probably a money line play in the Bears for me. And Hussey's the ref, too.
Yeah.
Hussey's a 60+% home ref. So maybe remember that one a little bit. So I kind of like Hussey and the Bears a little bit myself. And there's so much contrarian money on the Steelers.
And then you remember the whole Aaron Rodgers thing too?
Which part?
Where he says he owns you guys
or
whatever. Like,
that's the revenge the Bears are. I think the Bears want revenge for that crap that they've dealt with. And of course it's not the same players during most of the time, but the teams play with their fans, so that's what I'm saying. Jags, Cardinals plus 3.5, total 47.5. What do you think about this one?
I don't like any of the teams. I think Jacksonville should get away with this one, but if they're playing in Arizona, it's a different ball game. I don't know how what's his name? I always call him Lion King. Does as a quarterback in Arizona and what his record is there. But I feel like another reset team is Arizona. Jacksonville should be getting this, just because they can do that to teams and score big points. But I don't want any part of this.
Yeah, it is. It's a little uglier at 3, isn't it? The Cardinals are so banged up right now. They have injuries left and right, and they're not getting their tackle back.
Right.
Marvin Harrison's not coming back this week. It's just basically McBride and everybody else. This team kind of runs out of gas themselves. But the Jaguars are so yin and yang. It's like they're better than what they put on the field is the problem. When Trevor Lawrence, he's got some head issues too, man. One thing I will say good about the Jaguars is that I think they're rallying around that new coach. I think that he's doing a great job over there.
Positive.
Yeah. I think that at least you're getting that from that side. It's about time this team gets somebody that maybe can coach here. So we'll see if the verdict's out on this one. Browns.
The crazy thing about the line is 3, which is like, wow.
The Jaguars laying 3 on the road. You got to take a double take, but that's how bad this Cardinals team's banged up, and Brissett's kind of ran out of magic a little bit too. Browns, Raiders, and Raiders are
Browns.
It's weird to see the Raiders laying points, isn't it? 3.5, 4.
Yes. Well, they are the home team, right? And then there was that thing that came out that CeeDee Lamb threw up on I guess in a casino floor or something like that, and they caught him or something. It was like after the game or before the game. I don't remember, but they're kind of going into that storyline of like, if you're in Vegas, you're getting effed up, or
he was in trouble missing the first drive in the game with Pickens. So now he gets in trouble again. God, hold your booze, man.
No, I love the Browns this year a lot for some weird reason. But this is going to be a defensive game. I feel like, the QB stuff going on with both teams is probably going to be a big factor in it, depending on whether or not, Tom Brady has got to say something to Mark and say, hey, like, let me make the decisions on getting a new offensive line. And I know they're injured. I know that, but you got to have the next man up when it comes to that. And that's the only thing that will keep your quarterback safe. Right. And Gino, we've seen him in his ups and downs, but it's just hard to watch. It's really hard to watch. I'm sure you saw that game because obviously it was prime time and it's terrible, but I don't know.
I choked through it. I'm taking the Browns.
Yeah.
This Raiders. Myles Garrett is going to freaking have a field day. And what a waste of Crosby. Wow, this Raiders is waste.
Oh, I wish I had him.
Waste, man.
To be honest.
We all do. And this Shedeur Sanders is the reason this went up. Is he any worse than everything else they've been throwing on the field? I don't know about that. I've seen good Shedeur. He could be really good or really bad, but I feel like he's practicing with the ones. He's practicing with the ones too. He's practicing with them finally all week. I think this is his moment to shine. Deion's not going to let him fail. I think, at least not now. I like the points. I'm taking the Browns. Believe it or not, hold your nose. When two bad teams play each other, you always take the points. That's just the way it is. That never is going to die.
And the Browns could run. If you're the coach, you're going to run this down ball. Yeah. You know what I mean? It just they can't stop it. And like you said, Crosby's all-star, but it's like he can only do so much.
So much, 100%. Well, this is an interesting game. Eagles Cowboys. This is getting down to 3 territory here, with money coming in on the Cowboys with a total of 47.5. This is the kind of the marquee matchup, I would say, of the weekend. What do you think about this big division game? Dak Prescott, 21-2 in division games at home. I saw that stat today. I was like, really? Maybe all his horrible losses at home were against non-division ones. I was thinking,
As a dog, the Dick Boys look good. I call them the Dallas Dick Boys, but they look great as a dog. A lot of the guys on my show, they always take the DDB or the Dallas Dick Boys. Even if it's 3 or 4 or 5. I know Philly should win this, but they haven't been doing too well in covering. You know what I'm saying? Or barely, depending on if they go get these calls or some outrageous late calls and flags. This will be a really good game to watch. I think that it'll barely sail the over, but you should tease it with the points, and I think this is a good teaser. So either which way you take it, it'll probably be really fun to watch.
Absolutely. Dallas you can take them up to 9. If you like Dallas, I understand. The Eagles have been weird this year. Dallas, now they get that, those 2 big trades they made, and they sure mortgage their future, but it's like right now you got to handicap what's in front of you, which is good. I mean, they kind of fixed that running attack now. If they can stop Saquon a little bit, they're going to be in this game. I really wish I didn't miss the 3.5, because if I can go back in time, I wish I would take it. But now it's at 3. You're also betting a team that is on a short week against a shit team. It's like they played the Raiders and now they're in a short week. It's like nothing would surprise me.
It's a good game though. It'll be a good game too, because Philly fans versus Dallas fans are always fun to watch.
Let's live bet it. We'll live bet this one. How about that?
Yeah, this is a good one.
Falcons Saints. Saints now -2.5. Speaking for going from a good game to a bad game, total 40.5. I'll just say I bet the Saints at a way freaking better number than this, and this was on Sunday. You? I got +2.5, not -2.5.
Oh wow,
it's a 5-point move right there.
Wow, I think ATL's got to get it together. They got some good key pieces in there, but I think they're missing some due to injury and other things going around. But this game is so wild. Nobody even thinks about New Orleans anymore, right? Unless you're like a real one of us, like Sharps or whatever, degenerate. You're like, oh, this is a great number. I think a great number is 2.5. You getting that is awesome.
Yeah.
And early lines are really good too for all that.
It's gotten a little expensive at 2.5, huh? It's just kind of getting up there, maybe money line at -130 if you can find something. That's kind of what I would lean more towards.
Yeah, and it's in the dome, right? So, they both play there anyway. So they both play inside. So I don't know. I think this game could really go over too. A lot of these weird, maybe, I don't know. I'll take this live. For sure. Not the game, but the total.
Cousins has been awful, and they don't have London anymore either. So that is just a massive 2 hits, and the Saints coming off the bye. It's just such a good spot for the Saints. But that's another reason why you see the line moving in this direction. Funny, we didn't even get to buy low, sell high, but let's do that after these 2 games. Tampa Bay, LA Rams, and the LA Rams are -6.5, total 49.5. Oh, God.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
We all belong outside. We're drawn to nature, whether it's the recorded sounds of the ocean we doze off to, or the succulents that adorn our homes. Nature makes all of our lives, well, better. Despite all this, we often go about our busy lives removed from it. But the outdoors is closer than we realize. With All Trails, you can discover trails nearby and explore confidently. With offline maps and on-trail navigation, download the free app today and make the most of your summer with All Trails.
No, I mean, after last week, I really want to fade the Rams. But you have a kind of Tampa team that was in that Buffalo game, and then you look at Tampa. There's all Q's next to them. They're all questionable dudes.
Yeah, it depends. Is Vita Vea back?
No, I don't think he was that banged up. Let me go with Tampa here. I don't see him on the injury report. He should be fine. I thought he played last week. No,
he didn't. They didn't have him. So
okay.
That was a big factor in Josh being able to do all that.
That's interesting. And because I only watched parts of that game. Let me look at Tampa, because Vita Vea is a massive run clogger.
Oh,
right?
100%.
He is like,
he's a wall.
They're night and day. He has no injury designation right now. So,
Okay, good.
So he's good to go. He must have went out for sickness last week, maybe, if I remember correctly.
Something, I don't know. I just know the guys talked about it and they're like, "Oh, he's not playing, so there's nothing."
Yeah.
And we're just like, "Oh, well, then that explains that." And then, Baker is one of the top guys that if you watch wrestling, he's one of those guys you don't forget. You know what I'm saying? Where you're like, "Okay, yeah, that's him." And he's a lot of people would not like him, and a lot of people like him for who he is and how he's a go-getter. So because this is a Sunday night game, I think it's going to be like how Josh and him went at it. It just depends who has the better defense. And the Rams kind of have that right now, and they're on this high trend. But as a dog, I love Tampa.
Right. Tampa's such a good dog, and they could be getting Godwin back. I can't make a complete decision yet.
And the Rams, and I know I'm talking about the cream of the crop games here and weeks coming up, but dude, after what we saw, I don't know. You're kind of like, okay, Tampa as a dog, is this a trap because it's Florida, but.
And LA lost a couple guys last week. Rob Havenstein got injured on IR, Quentin Lake, his safety, and Tyler Higbee. And, this feels like a flat spot for the LA Rams. And it feels like a do or die spot for Tampa because they're still trying to win that division and they got Carolina on their tails. So, I mean, I'm going to wait till the injury report, but I'm going to give a strong lean to the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Same here.
And how about your Niners? Here we are. And last but not least, your banged up Niners that seem to just be coached through heaven and hell, right? They just make it. Mm-hmm. And they're 7-4 and they're really in wild card contention. And here's the Panthers coming to show up after some really weird games, losing outright to the New Orleans Saints, beating the Bills. Then you just come back. So you're losing by 10 last week, and this killed me because I had the Falcons. Losing by 10, freaking Falcons, two best guys goes out. Michael Penix.
I know.
It's like
you just keep getting lucky.
And then the Falcons just choke. It gets to just choked all over themselves. You know what I mean? That was almost a guarantee. But I think they're really outmatched and outcoached here. I first looked at the Carolina because of the points, but now it's just it's all Niners for me or nothing. Yeah. I like the teaser leg too with the Niners too.
Mm-hmm. The teaser is good for this one. And you know me, I'm negative Nancy when it comes to my own team because I said it already. Mm-hmm. It's toxic. They're toxic, and Carolina is like fooling you, right? Because they're like, oh yeah, it's Carolina. They're gonna cover they're a dog. It's 7, blah blah blah. But remember, Brock Purdy is in town. And so is CMC. Yeah. And then you got Kyle. The only thing that we have going against us is how we play at home. So if we can get this win at home, it would definitely hype everybody up for the next coming weeks and the schedule that we talked about. I don't normally take my team in things like this, but I would definitely do this and tease it with the total. It probably goes under because a lot of the Carolina games have went over just by themselves because of the crazy throws and things that Bryce Young would do at the end of the game during prime time or money making hours, what we always say the fourth quarter is. But I think that stops because I know we don't have Fred Warner, we don't have Nick Bosa, but we have other key players on that defense that can make this happen. So,
and they're going to run the ball to CMC, which would run the clock, right? It's correlated parlay a little bit. Yeah, it's correlated teaser, I should say. You think that the Niners run the ball, so they win, but you can tease both sides and get the under because Carolina will not score a lot. I get that for sure. Let's talk a little buy low, sell high. I was going to sell high in the Rams, so that's mine. I think that after that big win against Seattle, choking them, that shouldn't have been such a big spread. I think I'm going to get a better number, though. I think I'm going to get a 7 eventually if I just wait. So I'm just going to wait this out and maybe hit Tampa later.
I think I'll sell on it's either for me selling Dallas or Pitt because they're high. Obviously, those teams have fans They're all high up in the air right now. We're still going to make it. We still got these people. They just beat bad teams. It's an overreaction for those teams. Maybe even Minnesota. Those are the sell high fades for me. And then for buy low, Texans and Packers. We talked about it.
Yeah.
Texans, nobody's really talking about. I think they're over season wins. I'm not sure where that is now, but that might have been a good number. And then there's value in that, but I don't know how hurt CJ is, so it depends. They do have a good defense too. So,
well, that's a good one. If I'm going to buy low on somebody, it's kind of tough. I think that a lot of teams are overrated. Not a ton are underrated. I'll buy low on a little bit on the Vikings because their coach, and they look so bad last week, just a little bit. I'm not saying I'm going to be on them every week or nothing, but as a dog, I can see the Vikings kind of being a little feisty, and they really do have a good defense.
What about their QB, Kia?
McCarthy at Michigan just managed games. He's just got to manage the game, and he was terrible last week. But, I mean, if he can just work with the talent around him, I'm just going to buy a little bit low. Trust me, it's not a big.
You got to learn, right? Yeah, he's got to learn.
Who else? It's like, do I buy low in the Jaguars? I mean, nobody. You never know what you're going to get there. I think these teams are priced correctly. The Cowboys. I don't want to say buy low on the Cowboys. It's not a great market.
Well, what about the Bengals? Would you buy low on them, knowing that Joe Burrow?
No, I think Burrow was bad looking before he got injured with that awful offensive line, that terrible defense. I think they shouldn't even play. And trust me, the market already adjusted this down. I'm not sure you're buying low on them. I think that just they could be better because of Burrow, but the market thinks that. That's why I just don't think I'm buying low. But what I do like buying is beer bet bangers. I like buying some beer. So beer bet banging time. I'll give you mine first, Katie. I took 4 weeks ago, I took Matt Stafford at 12-1 to be the MVP. Yeah, he's plus 130 now. He's the favorite. But now that Sam Darnold is forgotten about, he's 50-1. But we have to remember they're playing again. So that whole thing could flip. I also have Danny Dimes at 30-1. He's 60-1 right now, so he's kind of in my back
pocket. You have him?
Yeah, yeah. You can take him at 60-1 now, but that's just another halve. But this is hopefully the last one I have to. I hope please don't have to bet Jonathan Taylor. I love Taylor; he's a Badger and everything. But it's like, do they give it to a running back? I think John Taylor is the Offensive Player of the Year, and I'm just gonna get one more. I'll give one of those units back on the 12-1. Just to grab Sam Darnold at 50-1. That's my beer bet banger. Let's get one of them.
Wow. I hope you get it.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
Thank you. I mean, it's nice to look at like a plus 100 when you had 12-1, but this freaking market changes on a dime. And if Stafford gets banged up or something, it can be very dangerous, Katie?
Yes, it can be. You're right. If he does, and he could easily get injured.
Absolutely.
Depending on, obviously the NFC has some crazy defenses that could get at him, and he can get hurt. And his back was already hurting, I think, the beginning of the season, right?
Yes, absolutely. His back was, 100%. I think that we'll ride with those. What about you? Do you have a long shot? Anything plus money is good. Whatever.
I don't have long shot, but I have one again this week, and that's your team. So it's not too bad, but I think that's my most favorite beer bet banger. I know the last time I came on your show, that was intense.
The Browns won outright, so that was awesome.
They did.
That was a great hit, Katie.
Another one would probably be my team, which surprisingly and shockingly, the podcast crew, if they see this episode and watch it, they'll be like, "Oh my God, you're actually taking your fucking team? That's crazy!" Because I never do. And I'm taking the Chicago Bears too, which I never do.
So parlay? Are you going to do a money line parlay? Bears and Niners?
Maybe.
Yeah,
that would be great. And then I'll do a bunch of those weird teasers again, and then we'll figure it out.
Well, Bears Niners money line parlay is plus 114, so we're in that plus range if you do that for your bet banner.
That'd be great.
So let's do that. Yeah. I'll ride that with you as well. I love it. Great stuff. Katie, you're the best.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you coming on. You're doing so much stuff at Circa too. It's almost like you're there every other week, and I'm very jealous.
Oh, I know. I wish you guys were there with me. And I just thank Derek and Greg and all of them, and Jeff, everybody over there. They're the best.
They are.
If you have, I know you know them, but anybody that's watching and you haven't gotten to know them, they're just those people that you can approach and you can talk ball with at any point in time, and they'll never ever judge you. Or being who I am and being a female in the industry, it's hard to overcome that stereotype a lot, but once you start talking and they understand, they're really cool people, and I think that place is awesome, to be honest.
100%. I am with you. Where could our listeners get your wonderful information, plays, and watch your show?
Yeah, so www.thesportsbettingqueen.com. You can watch the show there. There's a link to the YouTube, and then there's also partners where you can get to your show as well, Kiev, and at K-Deuces at the Sports Betting Queen on IG, and then on X, it's K-Deuces. So thank you so much for having me, and hopefully you get to come back on the show before the season ends.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. Best of luck on your plays. We'll be talking, Katie. Have a wonderful weekend.
Appreciate you.
It's funny, I didn't even really talk about next week's agenda that much. So plan is to have 2 shows next week, our normal recap shows, good, bad, and ugly spots, free play and all that, fantasy football. And then the next day, I'll be recording with Chris Felica, the Bear, to discuss some college football for the week. A little Egg Bowl action for Thanksgiving week, Friday, Saturday games. Just the whole shebang, really. And obviously, we're going to talk a little Thanksgiving, too. Some good treats that he has ready to talk about, and I do, too. And we're also going to talk a little football, NFL. I'm probably going to do an NFL segment either right before or after Chris. It just really depends upon when I get my information done. I don't want to, unfortunately, injury-wise, you really just know more about the Thursday games, and Friday the Bears play the Eagles. But, we're going to give you our best bets for those days, and maybe a play or two for the next Sunday as well. And articles will come out as well, kind of covering the Sunday games. So that's going to be the agenda for next week. And then back to normal the week after for Conference Championship week for college football. Now it is time for
The Sharp Side of the Force.
Sharp Side of the Force is brought to you by The Season. For the largest sports contest in all the land, please visit www.thesen.com/OB for 20% off. Terms and conditions. Location apply. All right. Sharp NFL as of Thursday. We have sharp money on the Lions, -8.5 to -10.5, hosting the Giants. 74% of the tickets and 81% of the money. Sharp money on the Saints, +2.5 to -1.5, hosting the Falcons. 33% tickets and 42% of the money. Sharp money on the Cowboys, +4.5 down to +3, hosting the Eagles. 41% of tickets and 48% of the money. And then the Raiders, -3 to -4, hosting the Browns. 18% of the tickets and 34% of the money. Sharp money on the now sharp totals. Patriots versus Bengals over 47.5 all the way to 51.5. Looks like Burrow might play, huh? 28% tickets and 45% of the money. Sharp money on the Browns versus Raiders under 41.5 to 36. 36% of the tickets and 56% of the money. It's time for our refuse to not lose teaser. Well, thank God it won last week, but geez, 4-7. Come on. I need to be better than that. This is the first year we're so far in the hole, and every year's been at least 60%. So this is what we're going to do for our teaser. We're going back to the 10-point teaser, taking the Lions down to a half point here. I just don't see the Lions losing a game like this, especially to such an inferior Giants. The Bears all the way up to +7.5. I like the Bears here to at least cover the 7.5 points. And I also like the Cowboys all the way up to +13.5 if you can find the half point. I think that's interesting and a great play. The Cowboys, Dak Prescott 21-2 against division opponents at home. I think they keep it at least within 13 points, guys. So we're going to do that for 2 stars.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Please.
Time to recap our plays. Seattle minus 13. Vikings plus 6.5. Browns plus 3.5. And might get to the window on Tampa Bay. You know, it's getting there. Little injury information is what I'm looking for. So we'll see if we can get there. But that's our plays for the week. My friends, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you have any questions for us, feel free to tweet us at The Oddsbreakers. Email us at info@theoddsbreakers.com. Have a great rest of your week and go get some winners.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.